Hi, everybody. I am so excited. We have my good friend visiting us from the West Coast, the Ali Nikoopour, coming here to talk to us about marketing your practice. And to be honest, has there really ever been a better time to start thinking about your marketing plan than right in the middle of a COVID-19 crisis? So let's focus on what it's going to be like when the floodgates open and people are crowding our offices again, because quite frankly, they're probably a little bent out of shape, literally and figuratively, by not getting their regular adjustments. So before we get started, this webinar is being recorded. You do not have to email me, message me, send anything in the chat box to request it because I promise it's being sent to you within 2 hours after we wrap up today's presentation. If you have any type of technical issue where the screen freezes or you lose audio, just hit the refresh button and everything will reset. But your internet connectivity can affect the audio of today's presentation. Submit your questions throughout the broadcast. And if you're listening to the recording, just know that when you submit a question through the chat box, it is emailed to our presenter for them to answer for you. So everybody, welcome Ali.
Hello, Christy. Hello, everyone, internet world. Thank you for having me. I hope you're staying happy and safe all indoors. I know I am. We all are nowadays. So I'm excited to educate you and your members on some really wonderful marketing tips, especially during this whole COVID-19 crisis going on. So let me jump right in and start sharing my screen here. And as Christy mentioned, I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has towards the end. Let me put this in presentation mode for everyone. All right, sorry, it's taking a little while to load. Christy, if you wouldn't mind letting me know when you're able to see this.
Um, let's see. It's still saying it's trying to reload. Holly, I think you froze up, honey. If you can hear me. All right, everybody, stand by. Looks like we lost our presenter. And this is what happens while everybody is working from home. But while you're waiting, don't forget to click at the bottom of the chat box. You should see files where you can download the handouts for today's webinar presentation. So let's see. So if you are just jumping on, because I see those numbers jumping up, stand by for just 1 second. Looks like our presenter was kicked off the webinar and is trying to get back in. So stand by. Is everybody enjoying their COVID retreat at home? I hope y'all are all having beautiful weather. All of that complaining I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, and it's going to be a high of 78 today instead of a high in the 40s and 50s. I, for one, am super excited about that. That is awesome. I love to see that there are a lot of practices that are still open. We have so many that we work with that we are seeing all kinds of things, either busier than usual, not as busy as usual, forced to close because of rules and regulations. You know, so I love that. I want all of y'all to still be open um, and seeing as many patients as possible because Lord knows people need their adjustments. Okay, it won't let him back in. Hold on one second. I'll stand by. Yay!
Hey,
You're
am I back
back.
on? Sorry about that. Right when I went, it just kicked me off. I apologize for keeping everyone waiting.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. We're having a great conversation over here to the side about who's open, who's not, what the weather's like.
Okay, let me dive right in. Let's try this again. I apologize. Let's try this screen share. All right. Let's go back to present mode. Hopefully this works.
I mean, it's like we didn't even test it 20, 30 minutes before the webinar started, right?
It's always technical difficulties, you know, right when you're live. That's the way it goes. Are you able to see it now?
Yes, sir. Now I will disappear.
Awesome. Thank you, Christy. Again, sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties, but it is worth the wait because what I'm going to go over today is very, very relevant in today's atmosphere. It's marketing tips for your chiropractic practice during this COVID-19 crisis. As Christy mentioned, you probably know already about me. My name is Ali Nikoopour, Senior Business Development Manager here at ChiroMatrix. Been with the company for over 6 years. Really, really wonderful company. We are the leaders in the industry. If you aren't familiar with ChiroMatrix, we've been in the industry since 2002. So this is our 18th year. We are, as I mentioned, the leaders in chiropractic online marketing services and the only company to have a premier Google partnership. We've all heard of Google. They're that 800-pound gorilla in the room that dictates and dominates about 90 to 95% of search engines. So the benefit we have of being premier Google partners is anytime they have any new updates, algorithms, tips and tricks, they release it and give it to their premier partners first. And then we release it to our members and our clients. So all of the wonderful information I'm going to be giving you today is coming straight from Google themselves. And then, of course, we probably hold an A+ with their Better Business Bureau. That being, again, been in the industry for 18 years, over 10,000 clients, and proudly hold a 94% retention rate. We really want to be the one-stop last solution for any chiropractor looking for marketing solutions until the day they retire or sell off their practice. So let's dive right on in. Why you need to adapt your marketing strategy during this COVID-19 crisis. So I'm going to go over two main factors as to why you should adapt now. So Now is the time to market your practice during these challenging times, and adapting your marketing strategy is an absolute must. The first being to keep communicating with your existing patients effectively during this crisis. You want to make sure that you're communicating with your patients via their preferred channels, whether it be social media, your website. You want to keep them informed on your schedule, which services you still provide, whether they're emergency or limited services during this stay-home situation, so that you can keep seeing patients and maximize the revenue for your practice as much as you can. The second is to be better positioned to drive new patients to your practice once things go back to normal. So get ahead and implement a strategy early on now so that you can attract those new patients. Thankfully, it seems like things are starting to slow down. If all goes well in the next month or two, businesses, things will open back up. People are going to be bursting at the seams to leave their house because they've been quarantined inside for the last 2 months. Their ailments haven't gone away, so they're going to be desperately looking and searching for services like all of you provide. And as COVID-19 expands around the world, chiropractors like yourselves are having to quickly adapt to the most challenging times we've faced in decades. So with an effective marketing strategy, your practice will be able to manage your online presence and keep your patients updated through this difficult time. So once again, adapt your marketing strategy for COVID-19 now so that you can be in the best possible position to continue to drive those patients to your practice once things go back to normal. Hopefully, again, sooner rather than later. What I'm going to be covering in today's presentation, it's 5 main points. The first is I'm going to go over steps to optimize your long-term SEO strategy. And for those not familiar with SEO, I'll go a little bit deeper into what that is, but it stands for search engine optimization. The second is I'm going to provide examples on how you can update your website with relevant content, especially content dealing with the coronavirus that we're in today. The third is I'm going to help show you how you can communicate with your audience using social media. I'm pretty sure everybody, all of you, or the majority of you utilize social media, but I'll go over some extra tips and tricks and why it's more relevant now than ever to utilize social media. The fourth are tips to maintain your online directory listing profiles. I'll dive a little deeper as to what those online directory listings are, why they're so important, and how they tie back and play a role into your SEO strategy. And then the fifth and final tip I'll be covering is how telemedicine can help you continue to see your patients. For those of you not familiar with telemedicine, it's the newest buzzword going around in the medical healthcare industry. I'll dive a little deeper into that, but it'll allow you with the newest type of technology to continue to see your patients virtually, even though your practices might be closed. So before I dive right on in what SEO is, I wanted to give a breakdown of the anatomy of a Google search page. It doesn't matter what you search, whether it's a chiropractor, you're searching for, clothing, a watch. 9 times out of 10, whenever you do a search on Google, a page like this is going to appear. The very top section, which is the map section, also known as the reputation section, has to do with your Google My Business. This is where, as you can see to the left, all your wonderful reviews are stored for all the new patients to read and see and help determine whether or not you're the right fit for them. The section right below that, that's called the organic listings. That has to do more with the content that's on your site, which I'll go over a little bit deeper into this presentation. But as you can tell, with an effective marketing strategy, you can show up both on the map section and the organic section. And that's really the name of the game, because as I'll go into deeper why it's so important to be on page 1, think of it like real estate: location, location, location. The more spots you have and the higher up you are on page 1, the better you have and give your practice an advantage when it comes to your online presence. So now that you know the anatomy of a Google search, let's dive in a little deeper and how you can adapt your search engine optimization strategy. SEO, what is it? Why is it important? For those of you not familiar, SEO, as you can see, stands for search engine optimization. The best way to think about it, the way I like to tell people, is think of your credit score. Google places a SEO score on each website. Just like your credit score, the higher it is, the more perks you have. The higher your SEO score, the higher you show up on those search rankings. And it's always important to show up on page 1. I'm going to go over 2 really important stats on focusing on SEO and why you need to appear on the top of search engines. The first is that 93% of all online experiences begin with some sort of search engine. Yes, Google is the biggest one. 90% use Google, but there's still ones like Yahoo, Bing. Doesn't matter what question you have, 93% of us will start with some sort of online experience through a search engine. That's the easiest way nowadays to really get answers to your questions. And 2/3 of the country right now is at home, so they have more time to browse the internet. So your potential patients may be searching for your services. Now is the most important time to make sure you have an effective SEO strategy, because as I mentioned, the majority of people are at home, bored, have nothing but time on their hands. So what are they doing? They're surfing the internet. The second stat, why it's so important to optimize and adapt your SEO strategy, as I mentioned, you want to be on page 1. As you can see by the stat, 3/4, 75% of users don't scroll past page 1 when they do a search. I myself am a victim of that. If you take a minute to think of the searches you've done, how often do you go past page 2? Very, very unlikely. That's why, to give your practice the most competitive advantage in your local market, you must do everything you can to try to show up on page 1. So especially in the wake of this COVID-19 pandemic, getting your content to the top of Google will be more important than ever. A good search engine optimization strategy will help get your practice's website at the very top of search engines, just like Google. And as I mentioned earlier, your patients and potential patients are urgently searching the web for more information on COVID-19. So the demand for high-quality SEO content is higher than ever. As I mentioned earlier, internet searches have climbed 70% in the last month. 70% increase. Again, it goes back because people are at home and they're bored and they're spending time on the internet. So going back to how that relates to you, your potential patients are likely to have more time to surf the web because they are staying at home. So now that you know what SEO is, why it's so important, I want to dive a little deeper and provide steps to optimize your SEO strategy, especially during this COVID-19 crisis. And here at ChiroMatrix, we wanted to share with you our secrets and steps we take for our own customers in order to optimize their SEO and rank them on Google's first page. Again, after all, we've been doing it for 18 years and over 10,000 happy clients worldwide. So the first step you want to take is you want to research keywords related to the services that you particularly provide, whether it be auto injury, chiropractic screening, pediatric, family care, personal injury, sports injury. You want to research those particular keywords because after all, those are the services that you are providing. The second is you want to prioritize the ones with high search volumes in your area. Here's an example of a high search in the US in the past month. Chiropractic adjustment got over 8,000 searches last month alone. So when you want to prioritize these ones with a high search volume in your area, you want to try to closely monitor Google Trends, Google Search Consoles, other keyword tools like Moz to better understand shifts in search interests and behaviors around relevant keywords and topics for your practice during this COVID-19. The next step you want to take is you want to focus on keywords that are easy to rank for. For instance, as we mentioned earlier, auto injury treatment, chiropractic screenings, we found those are easier to rank for than say other ones, say, personal injury where maybe a lot of lawyers are going after it. You want to focus on those keywords that are easy to rank for. And here's a wonderful pro tip from ChiroMatrix. You can use free online tools such as Google Keyword Planner and Moz at your disposal to research these 3 key steps that I mentioned. Once again, it's completely free to do. and it's going to benefit your SEO strategy, because knowing, and researching these related keywords in your area will give you a better understanding of how you are ranking and the probability of you ranking on page 1. By using keywords that have a high search volume and are easy to rank for, will keep your website at the very top of Google's first page, as well as help your practice stay in business and continue to drive new patients once things are back to normal. And just because your practice might be closed doesn't mean you should close your SEO strategies. Now, as Christy mentioned earlier, is the best time to implement marketing strategies while there's kind of a downturn, just so that when things go back to normal very shortly, you guys aren't left behind. You're, staying ahead of the curve. The next tip I want to help you guys with is how to update your website with relevant content, especially content dealing with today's COVID-19. So what you want to do is you want to create SEO-friendly content using those keywords that we discussed in the previous slide and relate them to COVID-19. Here's a great example of, some content that you can provide: risk prevention articles and blog posts. Best practices for your patients, how they can boost their immune system, stay healthy during this whole coronavirus pandemic. And then it's always good advice to have links to guidelines from official sources like the CDC, American Chiropractic Association, even our good friends at Chiro Health USA. Always want to provide links to official sources. And then it's very, very important, especially now that, office hours are changing, businesses are closing, that you update how and when your patients can reach you on your website's homepage. We've heard cases like this before where a doctor unfortunately didn't update his practice hours. So a patient of his had an emergency, necessity, saw on his website that his clinic is open, drove all the way there just to find out that it was closed. And as you can tell, the patient was very, very frustrated. So you want to avoid doing things like this and always update the information on your website. Here's another great pro tip from us at ChiroMatrix. Consider using a pop-up banner to highlight relevant information. You've probably seen these pop-up banners as you browse online. It's an effective way to highlight the most important information for your web visitors. Most of us nowadays, if you see a pop-up banner, chances are it has to do something with COVID-19, limited hours. This is a great way to utilize this pop-up banner. You can put information like the best ways to reach you, whether it's via phone, filling out a form, or coming into your practice because it is actually open. You can highlight limited services. What are they? How long will it take for you to get back to them? So once again, it's a great way for you to get that most important relevant information flashed in front of the user's eyes right when they get to your website. And again, it's free to do. The next tip is how to communicate with your patients using social media. You always want to stay connected with your social media followers. Believe it or not, the majority of your patients are online and receiving most of their news and updates via social platforms like Facebook and Instagram. So it's very, very important to make sure, if you haven't been doing so already, that you need to communicate and maintain your social media outlets and platforms. When you're doing this, you want to use the right tone on social media during this crisis. Always keep a positive, inspirational, helpful tone. Fear-mongering and articles that, just raise anxiety and fear don't help. People don't appreciate it. So if you stick with the positive, inspirational, helpful tones, you'll get more traction, more likes, comments, and shares on those. You want to reshare patient safety tips and best practices from leading authority sources to help educate your patients. Again, do the research, make sure they're leading authority sources and not just, some spam or some fake news. Provide and reshare those safety tips on your social media platform. A good example is chiropractors work to protect patients from COVID-19, coronavirus and chiropractic, nutrition for avoiding and recovering. Wonderful, useful tips and information out there at your disposal. Here are a couple great examples. One, importance of boosting mood and immune system, why chiropractic is essential to your health during COVID-19. While you're doing these posts, keep in mind, you're essentially guiding and informing your patients and followers throughout this COVID-19 crisis. Very, very important to tie those two together, because chiropractic care focuses on the central nervous system that regulates virtually every bodily function, including the immune system. So the nervous system must communicate with the rest of the body, which is where the coronavirus and chiropractic care cross paths, as chiropractic comes in to remove nerve blockage via spinal misalignment. This is wonderful information that you should and could be, posting on your social media for your followers and patients to read. And the last thing you want to make sure while you're doing these social media posts is that these social posts link back to the articles on your website. This is called a backlink. The more backlinks you have, the better. This does play a role into your SEO rankings. Google wants to see these. So whenever you do a social post, make sure that you have that link going back to the article on your site, as well as your website should have backlinks to your social media outlets. Ideally, Google tells us that you want to place these social media icons at the very top home banner so that people, your patients, can easily just click on the Facebook or the Instagram icon and be redirected to that outlet. The next tip is how to maintain your online directory listings. So let's start out with what is an online directory listing. Why are they important? Probably the most important one is Google My Business. If you recall in the earlier slides, the anatomy of a search engine page, Google My Business is that map section at the top. Very, very prime, important spot of real estate. It also has your reviews, as you can tell, on there. So it is very important to update your practice's business hours on your Google My Business profile. Believe it or not, many people don't go to a practice's website. They actually rely on Google My Business profile to find more information about your practice, your business hours, all that great stuff. So you want to, when you're maintaining your online directory listings, you want to ensure your business information is accurate on all the directory listings. The three most important key pieces of information are called NAP, N-A-P, name, address, phone number. Very, very important to make sure that it's accurate on all the directory listings. This name, address, phone number is critical for businesses wishing to rank well in local organic search results, because search engines like Google take the data into account when determining which companies to show for geo-targeted searches. So let's say your business operations may have changed during this COVID-19 crisis. You have limited hours, certain days a week. You want to make sure your patients are cognitive of any of those changes to your practice's business hours and contact information through Google My Business profile. The second step is you don't want to disregard less popular directories. We've all heard of the main ones, Yelp, Facebook, Google, but there's less popular ones like Bing, Yellow Pages, Yahoo. Believe it or not, people are still searching on them. So you don't want to disregard those. You want to make sure that all the directories, big or small online, have accurate and up-to-date information. The next tip is you want to make your listings voice search friendly. For those of you not familiar with voice search, it's the newest technology. We're living in the day and the age of Jetsons nowadays. It's devices like Siri, Alexa, Google. These are devices that you talk to, ask questions to, and who actually talk back and give answers to your questions. This is an ever increasing trend going on more and more nowadays. So it's very, very important to make sure that you're not left behind the dust, because I'm going to share two really big stats regarding voice search. 65% of people between the age of 25 and 49 say they speak to their voice-enabled device at least once per day. And then according to ComScore, they predict by the end of 2020, more than half of all online searches will be done via voice. So it's very important to implement that now, not be left behind again when towards the end of the year, the majority of people are doing voice searches. You want to make sure right now that your practice is optimized for voice search so that you show up in these directories as well. Here's a little pro tip. Many of you probably can count a handful of different directories, but there's actually over 70 directory listings online. Having any inaccurate name, address, phone number on any of them can negatively impact other listings and ultimately your search results, your SEO ranking. So it's very, very important to make sure that all the directories are updated. 68% of consumers stop using a local business if they found inaccurate information in an online directory. So to wrap it up, your name, address, phone number should be accurately represented throughout your website, Google search, and maps. If your online business listings aren't accurate, your patients who are seeking urgent information quickly, unfortunately, won't be able to reach you. And I'll go over, if you have any questions, how you can update all 70 directory listings, because I know it's pretty tedious. Chances are you don't have the time to go through every single one individually and update them. There are little tips and tricks you can use to basically update all 70 at once. The next is consider telemedicine for your chiropractic patients. For those of you not familiar, as I mentioned earlier, it's the newest, latest buzzword trend going on in the medical healthcare profession. As you can see here, with telemedicine, you can deliver care to your patients with real-time virtual check-ins using secure audio video communication tools that can connect you to your patients through a computer, smartphone, or tablet. So it's a virtual office nowadays. You can keep seeing your patients. You don't have to cancel or miss appointments. With telemedicine, you're now able to virtually care for your patients, even though your practice doors might be closed. And even if your practice doors are open, some patients might not be comfortable coming in due to the current situation. So they might actually prefer telemedicine. I'm going to share two really important stats showing why there's a need and demand for telemedicine in the marketplace right now. The first is that 74% of patients in the US would consider using telemedicine services, nearly 3/4 of the patients. 158% increase in telemedicine appointments nationwide. Again, think for a second why that is. Because of the current climate and situation. We're all quarantined. We're all forced to stay home. We can't go to practices, even if they were open. So the preferred method is telemedicine. And it's at the comfort, at the leisure of the patient as well as the doctor. You can do it from home. You don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to get in your car, fight through traffic, find a parking spot, all that stuff. You can still deliver the great care and service that you provide, but virtually. And this will allow you to continue that revenue stream for your practice. Instead of keeping the office shut and closed and rejecting patients until you're back open, why not continue to provide that care through telemedicine while we make it through this crisis? And a lot of studies have found that, being the generation that we're in, we're all technologically, savvy. We prefer convenience. Even after this whole coronavirus situation is over and the quarantine is lifted, people are able to go out and see their doctors. A good chunk of these people, patients, are actually still going to prefer telemedicine because it's at their convenience. They still, even though they're no longer quarantined and have to go out, a lot of them prefer this method because it's more convenient and suitable for them. The next, after I went into telemedicine, is how you can use telemedicine at your chiropractic office. So there's a couple different ways. One, with telemedicine, it allows you to communicate with your patients regarding their symptoms. You can diagnose problems, musculoskeletal problems, whatever have you. You can virtually see them and help diagnose that as well as their symptoms. It's a lot easier because as opposed to doing it over the phone, where you can't really see them. And again, that it's a little less of a personal touch in the patient's eyes. When they actually can hear you, physically see you, it goes a lot further, and the patient appreciates that a lot more. Telemedicine will also allow you to create at-home treatment plans. So again, extra revenue stream. It allows you to keep your practice open. And you can also offer at-home remedies and exercises. This is also a great way, if you sell any supplements, products, anything in your practice, you can keep that online store open through telemedicine. Again, just extra revenue stream to keep for your practice during this COVID-19 crisis. And if anybody is interested in telemedicine, it is one of the newest offerings coming available from ChiroMatrix. We have a wonderful webinar for those of you who attended. If you're interested in getting started with telemedicine, you would receive your first month free on us. Now, that kind of concludes the 5 tips that I went over. I know it's a lot of information. These are free educational tips and tricks given to us directly from Google that you can implement on. Understand that you guys are doctors, you're busy. So if you're too busy to take care of the marketing strategy on your own, that's where we ask that you instill your trust in leaders in a company like ChiroMatrix, where we literally can take care of it all for you. And as you can tell with our partnership through the Chiro Health USA, you guys get a wonderful webinar promo special where there would be absolutely no setup fee, design fee to create and build up your website. That's up to a $2,000 savings. And you get half off your first 2 months, any marketing service. We understand that, it's a little slower nowadays. We're probably still about another month out from everything opening back up. That's why we're able to offer this wonderful discount savings of 50% off your first 2 months. And for those of you who are interested in taking advantage of this offer, simply give a call, 800-877-9107, or visit that nice little link and fill out any information. We'll be happy to reach out, answer any questions that you have. It's go.imatrix.com/Chiro Health USA 2020. And with that, I want to thank everybody for participating. I hope you guys learned a lot. I know it's a lot of information, so I want to open it back up now to any questions that you guys might have that I'll be more than happy to answer for you. Let me, I guess, go down here.
Yay. Okay, well, let me see. We got a couple of questions.
Let me go back here.
Somebody wants to know, are y'all working with attorneys or a legal team to ensure that the content you create is legal for us to publish regarding the immune functions? Recently have gotten a lot of attention.
Yes. So to be clear, we're not actually publishing them. This is our recommendation that we give to chiropractors to publish, whether it be on their website or social media. And we recommend using credible sources like the CDC so that you can make sure that information is accurate and, no bad information. As far as our site and our content, it is all 100% HIPAA compliant. It is encrypted and it's checked by one of our partners, which is called HIPAA compliancy.
And I was just going to say, just make sure that when you are publishing those best practices and anything about the immune system, that you are using stuff from the CDC, the ACA, the ICA. Just be really careful and make sure that it's not violating any of the rules and regulations set forth by your board of examiners, because I do know what you're talking about, and a lot of those were issues with violations of marketing rules and regulations, the benefits of chiropractic to boost your immune system. So again, just make sure, and if you have questions, reach out to your state association and ask them for feedback on those types of items. What kind of chiropractic care can we provide over telemedicine, since we are unable to give them an adjustment over the phone?
Right. So it's like it's kind of more like diagnosing treatments, kind of creating exercise programs, if there's any supplements, products. It's really more of a means for you to diagnose problems, for the patient to, express their concerns, allow them to actually talk to a medical professional. Although you can't necessarily adjust, it's still providing that wonderful care and service to that patient. until your practice is open, where you can actually do the adjustment itself. There's still many different things that you can do to keep in communication with your patient other than just adjusting, and that's where telemedicine really comes into advantage.
And I could not agree with you more. It's also a great place, especially if you're not able to see patients at the time. You can give them home exercises to kind of help them through the process. I am sending y'all a link to the telehealth white paper that you can download that we just put out a week or two ago.
And keep in mind, yeah, sorry, I was going to say, once this quarantine is lifted, that doesn't mean necessarily everybody's going to be out of their home ready to go. There's going to be people that are still hesitant to go to a practice, even if it is open. That's where you can, benefit from telemedicine.
And I will say, we've done a lot of extensive research on telemedicine, and it is what people want to do. They're tired of waiting in doctors' offices. It's not everything that we can do. Most of what we do in chiropractic is better done in the office setting, but telehealth is not something that's going to go away.
Right. Yeah. We're a very mobile society, and it's all about convenience. So if I can talk to my doctor on my smartphone as opposed to going through traffic to get to him, I'm going to do that.
Not going to lie, I do that frequently when my kids are having an allergy flare up or sinus infection.
Yeah.
They just not go away. Let's see, how do you make or how do you test your own website that your website is voice search friendly?
Yes. So what we use, we're partners with a company called Yext, Yext. And what they do is we submit the information that you provide, your name, address, phone number, and so that they can update it on all 70 plus directories online. It takes care of that tedious work that I mentioned. The doctor doesn't have to go each individual directory. We can do it with a push of a button. And with Yext, that directory listing cleanup will include directories like Alexa, Siri, and Google. The way to think of those three things, those three devices are actual directories in themselves. They're going to produce a list of results. Let me see if I can show an example. Hey, Google, find a chiropractor near me.
Here are some listings for chiropractor near me within 0.4 miles.
So you see,
if you're visiting due to COVID-19, give your healthcare
provider. It even gives COVID-19 information and advice. So this right here, this information that popped up is essentially a directory. Siri and Alexa are directories. They're part of that 70 directories. So when we optimize that directory list, it'll actually include those three directories like Siri, Alexa, and Google, so that your practice can actually show up. If somebody's in or around your area, they say, find a chiropractor near me, and you have voice optimized directory listings, boom, you're actually going to be an option that shows up for them.
Is there a way to update all listings at once across multiple?
Yeah, you could utilize tools like we use, Yext, as I mentioned. It's a monthly subscription. With a lot of our services, it's included, but you can go and pay a monthly subscription where basically you send them the information and then they update it on all the directories on your behalf. It saves you a lot of time and headache.
For real. That is a lot of work. So we have one attendee who is a chiropractor from the UK.
Okay.
And they stopped practice on March the 24th. They've been given a tentative restart date of September 21st. What are some suggestions you have for a long-term marketing strategy since their offices are closed?
I would still maintain your website, always updated with relevant information, because what you don't want to do is pause or stop your marketing. If you do that, your SEO score is going to go down and down because other doctors in the area are going to continue to do it. And in Google's eyes, they're going to drive them up and up. So you always want to continue to update your website, continue your social media channels. Even if your practice is closed, Google looks at these things. Even though your practice is closed, Google still wants you to stay active online. So you want to continue to do those two things. As I mentioned, consider using telemedicine. It's a wonderful source, especially if that practice is closed until September. You can still talk to your patients during those wonderful, those several months leading up to when your practice is going to be back open. But you never really want to say stop or halt any of your marketing strategy, because let's say you do that and then they want to pick it back up in September. Now you lost about 5 months worth of vital time that you could have been continuing to increase your SEO rankings online. So don't stop what you're doing. Continue that, activity so that Google can keep you ranking up, so that when you are ready, you can be in the best possible position to attract those new patients.
So they also would like to know, are your services available in the UK?
Yes, we have several clients in the UK, all over the world, Australia. We like to say anywhere there's internet access and Google, we're able to help with our services.
All right. So if you will look below your chat box, everybody, for those of you who always request a certificate of attendance, it's already been posted. You can also click on the offers tab, and it will show you that the offer that Ali was talking about, you can click on learn more. It's going to take you directly to their website in a separate tab so that you can take advantage of that offer. If you have any additional questions after today's webinar presentation, feel free to email me, and I will be happy to forward them over to the team at ChiroMatrix, because they are amazing. And I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, just a reminder, we have more webinars this week. So tomorrow we're going to be focusing on getting back to business and that pivot point of starting to think about what happens as we return to some sort of normalcy here in the U.S. It's never too early to start thinking about what that's going to look like, because there are some things that we have never had to do before until recently that are going to continue on as businesses begin opening. We're able to see more patients, and those restrictions on the number of people coming into our businesses are lessened. So make sure that you check out that. On Thursday, I don't know what day of the week it is. On Thursday, we're going to have Don Rasmussen, who's going to be back regarding a new update on SBA loans. So it's really important that if you have questions about that you check that out. Additionally, if you are one of the small businesses that did receive the original or the first run of SBA loans, if you were, it is some very important information that you need to know to make sure that you're able to get the loan forgiveness option. So he's going to be giving you some tips on how to make sure that you're doing that. So make sure you go to the website at chirohealthusa.com/webinars and register for those. And any last thoughts?
No, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out. We are educators first. We'll be more than happy to give you free advice how you can do it yourself. But if you're over inundated, too busy to do it, we'll be more than happy to take care of it all for you.
And he's not even kidding. So this is an offer that, people should never make to me, because whenever I have a wild idea about what can you do with a website, I'm like, golly, what do you think about? I mean, like, how hard could this really be?
That's what I'm here for. Use me up anytime you need.
So again, reach out to them. They're an amazing team. They, if you think of any questions, trust me, they have answers. If they don't have an answer, which is rare, they will get you an answer, because they have the resources to be able to do that. Like I said, there's not a lot of people out there who I say have outstanding, amazing customer service. They will treat you like family. So make sure you reach out to them. Again, send your questions to me. I'll forward them to them. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and a fabulous week.
Awesome. Thank you, Chrissy. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe and healthy.
Bye.
Bye.